Lagi natin ng pinaka-investor ng kalan. Sa budya ba? Palit ko ba? Nagyan sa balay. Palit ko. Mother.
Amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan na paibabaw. Bigatin debeden, pagpadahin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin debeden, dapping Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadeped. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadeped. Amihan ng Mindanao, Debed Northern Mindanao. Ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw. Bigatin debedin, pagpadahin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin debedin, Debed Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Debed Northern Mindanao, ambihan ng Mindanao. Bigatin debeden, bigatin debeden. Amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw. Bigatin debeden, pagpadahin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin debeden, Debed Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadeped. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadeped. Ambihan ng Mindanao, Debed Northern Mindanao. Ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw. Bigatin debed. dapetin. Pagpadayon sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin dapetin, Dapit Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Dapit Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, bigatin DepEd, bigatin DepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin DepEd. Pagpadayon sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin DepEd, Dapit Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kaDepEd. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kaDepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, Dapit Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin DepEd. Pagpadayon sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin DepEd, Dapit Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Dapit Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, bigatin DepEd, bigatin DepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin DepEd. Pagpadayon sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin DepEd, Dapit Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kaDepEd. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kaDepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, Dapit Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin DepEd. Pagpadayon sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin DepEd, Dapit Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now. We're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Dapit Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, bigatin, DepEd, bigatin, DepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin, DepEd. Pagpadangin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumunga maangkon, bigatin, DepEd. DepEd Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, ka-DepEd. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, ka-DepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, DepEd Northern Mindanao, ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin, DepEd. Pagpadangin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumunga maangkon, bigatin, DepEd. DepEd Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. DepEd Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, bigatin, DepEd, bigatin, DepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin, DepEd. Pagpadangin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumunga maangkon, bigatin, DepEd. DepEd Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, ka-DepEd. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, ka-DepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, DepEd Northern Mindanao, ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin, DepEd. Pagpadangin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumunga maangkon, bigatin, DepEd. DepEd Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. DepEd Northern Mindanao, amihan ng Mindanao, bigatin, DepEd, bigatin, DepEd. Amihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw, bigatin, DepEd. Pagpadangin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumunga maangkon, bigatin, DepEd. Dapat Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan nating kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadet-ed. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadet-ed. Ambihan ng Mindanao, Dapat Northern Mindanao, ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw. Bigatin, dapatin, pagpadahin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong na maangkon. Bigatin, dapatin, Dapat Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan nating kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Dapat Northern Mindanao, ambihan ng Mindanao, bigatin DepEd, bigatin DepEd. Ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw. Bigatin DepEd, pagpadahan sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin DepEd, Dapat Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan natin kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadet-ed. Kauban, kasaligan, kadampan, kadet-ed. Ambihan ng Mindanao, Dapat Northern Mindanao, ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw. Bigatin DepEd, pagpadahin sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin DepEd, Dapat Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan nating kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa. Dapat Northern Mindanao, ambihan ng Mindanao, bigatin DepEd, bigatin DepEd. Ambihan ng Mindanao, pagkahiusan ng paibabaw. Bigatin DepEd, pagpadahan sa edukasyon, mao'y tumong nga maangkon. Bigatin DepEd, Dapat Northern Mindanao, for the learners then and now, we're always here to serve you no matter how. Pangarap natin abutin, pagsisikapan nating kamtin, kalidad na edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bansa.
Bida, bida, bida kid! Ikaw at ako ang bida kid. Sa COVID di pa dadaig, sa ligtas na pagbabalik, sama-sama Sabihin sa magulang at sa bahay muna. Sa kalye, bidagin! Best friend natin ang masuotin kahit saan. Ingatan ang kamay, maghugas pag galing sa labas. Sa school, bidagin! Sa pila, wag dikit-dikit. Dumistansya para iwas sakit. Laging open ang window para maganda ang airflow. 3B's, tandaan, bakuna, bayanihan, bidagin. Halina't magtulungan. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Bida, bida, bidagin. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Sa bahay, bidagin. Kumain ng masustansya. Uminom ng vitamina. Kung pakiramdam ay hindi maganda, sabihin sa magulang at sa bahay muna. Sa kalye, bidagin! Best friend natin ang masuotin kahit saan. Ingatan ang kamay, maghugas pag galing sa labas. Sa school, bidagin! Sa pila, wag dikit-dikit. Dumistansya para iwas sakit. Laging open ang window para maganda ang airflow. 3B's, tandaan, bakuna, bayanihan, bidagin. Halina't magtulungan. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Bida, bida, bidagin. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Sa bahay, bidagin. Kumain ng masustansya. Uminom ng vitamina. Kung pakiramdam ay hindi maganda, sabihin sa magulang at sa bahay muna. Sa kalye, bidagin! Best friend natin ang masuotin kahit saan. Ingatan ang kamay, maghugas pag galing sa labas. Sa school, bidagin! Sa pila, wag dikit-dikit. Dumistansya para iwas sakit. Laging open ang window para maganda ang airflow. 3B's, tandaan, bakuna, bayanihan, bidagin. Halina't magtulungan. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Bida, bida, bidagin. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Sa bahay, bidagin. Kumain ng masustansya. Uminom ng vitamina. Kung pakiramdam ay hindi maganda, sabihin sa magulang at sa bahay muna. Sa kalye, bidagin! Best friend natin ang masuotin kahit saan. Ingatan ang kamay, maghugas pag galing sa labas. Sa school, bidagin! Sa pila, wag dikit-dikit. Dumistansya para iwas sakit. Laging open ang window para maganda ang airflow. 3B's, tandaan, bakuna, bayanihan, bidagin. Halina't magtulungan. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Bida, bida, bidagin. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging bidagin. Sa bahay, bidagin. Kumain ng masustansya. Uminom ng vitamina. Kung pakiramdam ay hindi maganda, sabihin sa magulang at sa bahay muna. Sa kalye, bidagin! Best friend natin ang masuotin kahit saan. Ingatan ang kamay, maghugas pag galing sa labas. Sa school, bidagin! Sa pila, wag dikit-dikit. Dumistansya para iwas sakit. Laging open ang window para maganda ang airflow. 3B's, tandaan, bakuna, bayanihan, bidagin. Halina't magtulungan. Ikaw at ako ang bidagin. Sa COVID di pa beat again. Best friend natin ang masuotin kahit saan. Ingatan ang kamay maghugas pag galing sa labas. Sa school, beat again. Sa pila, wag dikit-dikit. Dumistansya para iwas sakit. Laging open ang window para maganda ang airflow. 3Bs, tandaan, bakuna, bayanihan, beat again. Halina't magtulungan. Ikaw at ako ang beat again. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging beat again. Bida, bida, beat again. Ikaw at ako ang beat again. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging beat again. Sa bahay, beat again. Kumain ng masustansya. Uminom ng vitamina. Kung pakiramdam ay hindi maganda, sabihin sa magulang at sa bahay muna. Sa kalye, beat again. Best friend natin ang masuotin kahit saan. Ingatan ang kamay maghugas pag galing sa labas. Sa school, beat again. Sa pila, wag dikit-dikit. Dumistansya para iwas sakit. Laging open ang window para maganda ang airflow. 3Bs, tandaan, bakuna, bayanihan, beat again. Halina't magtulungan. Ikaw at ako ang beat again. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging beat again. Bida, bida, beat again. Ikaw at ako ang beat again. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging beat again. Sa bahay, beat again. Kumain ng masustansya. Uminom ng vitamina. Kung pakiramdam ay hindi maganda, sabihin sa magulang at sa bahay muna. Sa bida, bida, beat again. Ikaw at ako ang beat again. Sa COVID di pa dadaig. Sa ligtas na magbabalik. Sama-sama maging beat again. Sa bahay, beat again. Kumain ng masustansya.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Annyeonghaseyo! Hello Philippines! Hello world! Good morning! Magandang umaga! Maayong utak, Department of Education. Welcome to
ICO BP Tech Learning for Session 6.
You know what's right? We are all interconnected. So, showing empathy and becoming responsible members of the global community will help make the world believe a better place. Do you agree with that, sir, right?
Definitely.
Yes. So basically, enabling our learners with understanding and anticipation of change will empower them to see the world differently. Teaching and learning to motivate and allow happy and healthy learners to take actions at the individual, community, and global levels. In the previous sessions that we had, Sir Ryan, we've learned about the global citizenship education and the sustainable development and what is it, and how the teachers can integrate GCED in the classroom, empowering our teachers and learners to take active roles in addressing global and local issues will help attain our vision of having a more tolerant, inclusive, and sustainable society. But do you know, Sir Ryan, how do we transform our world through global citizenship education and the sustainable development goals for development and how to actively take part in the advocacy, Sir Ryan, as educators, right?
By the way, hi, Christina. Very good question for me. Of course, as we become more aware of the increasing contradictions in our world today, we need to rethink the role and importance of our educational system. We need transformative education that can help our young generation to cope with the realities and demands of our rapidly changing society. We need education that's not only about gaining new knowledge and skills, but also about valuing life and social harmony in a very diverse world.
My God, Sir
Thank
Ryan.
you, Ma'am Christine.
A pleasant morning to each and everyone, and welcome to the DepEd ICO KPTEP Learning Series 4, Session 6, with the theme, Transforming the World through GCED and SDGs for Development. I am Christine A. Lagas, a teacher at Upper Carmen Elementary School of Cagayan de Oro City.
And I am Ryan Blanco from the Schools Division Office of Cagayan de Oro City. And definitely, Christine, it's a privilege for us to be your host for today's event. Let me first greet our guests from DepEd Central Office's International Cooperation Office, Schools Division of Caloocan and Malabon City. We also have regional and division and school administrators, teachers, viewers, and to all our participants here today. A wonderful morning. Mayong buntag sa tanan. Mayong buntag also from Christine.
Mayong buntag, Sir Ryan. You know, it feels so good to be working with a pro in the field of hosting.
Ma-pressure na everything. By the way, for those who are watching us here right now, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Rest assured that you will be learning a lot from our speakers today. By the way, Christine, you know that we are streaming live right now via DepEd Philippines Facebook page and DepEd International Cooperation official Facebook page.
So comment down and don't forget to share
Yes.
your reactions. Yes, before we open our program, may we call on our regional director, Director Arturo Bayucon, for his welcome message.
Okay, so can you take a look at our ABP presentation, ladies and gentlemen, for the recorded opening message of RBR.
Isang magandang na punong-puno ng pagtutulungan, pag-asa at tagumpay mula dito sa amin sa Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa amihan ng Mindanao. The COVID-19 pandemic really hit us hard and continues to challenge us, particularly our delivery of quality education. In fact, at the onset of the pandemic, we at the Department of Education stood firm and pursued our department goals by implementing our basic education learning continuity plans. And through our concerted efforts, we survived and achieved our targets. Now, we continue to experience the pandemic's presence, and this today, which strives to safeguard the continuity of learning and preserve the overall well-being of learners, teachers, and all DepEd personnel, is spearheading the ICO KPTEP Learning Series 4, Session 6. The initiative supports the Sulong Educalidad program through its kite symbol, which is the department to respond to the biggest lingering challenges toward the K-12 curriculum review and update, improving the learning environment, teachers upskilling and reskilling, and engagement of stakeholders for support and collaboration. And to concretize this key reform area on stakeholders collaboration, the ICO partnered with the Korea-Philippines Teacher Exchange Program Alumni Association. And speaking of collaboration, DepEd Region 10, in concurrence with the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO, is privileged and honored to host the ICO KPTEP Learning Series for Region 6 with the theme Transforming Our World through Global Citizenship Education and Sustainable Development Goals for Development. Of the Asia Pacific Teacher Exchange for Global Education. APT by Teacher Exchange Program between the Republic and Standing under the auspices of UNESCO, APCEIU, Ministries of Education of the partner countries. My dear fellow advocates, the learning series that we'll be engaging ourselves in are indeed timely and relevant. Not only will they provide a platform to raise awareness of sustainable development goals and call to action, but also a caring, participative, relevant, and responsive online learning and development opportunities for our teachers. And yes, my fellow education believers, this program affords us an avenue. Balik. My dear fellow education advocates, the learning series that we will be engaging ourselves in are indeed timely and relevant. Not only will they provide a platform to raise awareness of sustainable development goals and call to action, but also a caring, participative, relevant, and responsive online learning and development opportunities for our teachers. And yes, my fellow education believers, this program affords us an avenue to exchange innovative and promising approaches on how to address gaps and issues and fully harness the potential of the 4 pillars of learning in order to support sustainable development goals and global citizenship. And because of these notable goals and efforts, we commend the International Cooperation Office for its sincere efforts to enhance the department's institutional capacity in developing, coordinating, managing, and consequently fulfilling the country's international commitments through the strengthening ties with international partners toward quality, accessible, and liberating education. And we continue to commend the ICO for its commitment to support our educational communities, especially in these trying times, by focusing on the mainstreaming, embedment, and institutionalization of global citizenship education. Having shared with you the noble goals of this learning series, I would like to thank the International Cooperation Office in partnership with the Korea-Philippines Teacher Exchange Program Alumni Association and in concurrence with the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. Thank you for the strong collaboration. And to all our participants, may we make the most of this learning series as we continue to work together in building our learners' future. Muli, ang aming mainit na pagbati, pagtanggap at pagpupugay sa lahat mula dito sa amin sa Kagawaran ng Edukasyon, Region Des. Marami pong salamat.
Thank you so much, Arnie, for your wellness the battle of COVID-19. But we remain resilient because our goal is to become globally competitive educators, Ryan. After all,
Well, I perfectly agree with that. Christine. Despite the unexpected news earlier of RDR, it truly epitomizes excellence here in Michigan.
Yan yung sinasabi natin, Sir Ryan, na the show must go on.
Definitely.
Yes. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our dynamic and hard-working Director 4 of the International Cooperation Office, Margarita Consolacion C. Ballesteros, for the statement of purpose.
Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello everyone, maayong buntag. Good morning and greetings from Quezon City. Apologies that I can't be there physically because of physical concerns. But anyway, I'm glad that technology allows us to be together even if we are physically apart. To the very dynamic director of Region 10, a good friend, RD Art, and I believe he is here in Manila because of the budget hearing, and ARD De Gracia, who is with you all. Thank you for allowing ICO and our partners from, of course, the Korea Philippine Teacher Exchange for letting us celebrate with you what global citizenship is and what we want to do and what we have been doing for the past years. Basically, this learning series actually provides a platform for you to get to be aware what the SDGs are, or what we call the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as this is an avenue for DepEd to present what KPTEP has been doing and what we would like to do in terms of our commitments, as well as for our international cultural exchanges. GCED has been there for the past, I should say, 10, if not more than 10 years. But KPTEP for this year is celebrating its 10th year anniversary. And according to our data, we have not yet have like one, if not two, from the region. And this is basically one of the many reasons why we are also choosing regions where there are no KPTAP alumni yet, be it face-to-face or virtual, so that when you get to be aware, then you will be able to nominate at some point your teachers in the next coming years. We will have one again this year, but this election has been done. It is virtual, so they call it the OTAP, the Online Teacher Exchange Program, under still the auspices of the Asia Pacific Center for International Understanding, and at the same time that with the Ministry of Education. And next year, we're hoping that it's going to be face to face. And by then, hopefully, Region 10 will also have one, if not two, of your nominees. So thank you for allowing us to celebrate with you what GCED is all about. Enjoy the day, and I will be with you virtually. Thank you very much.
Malipayong adlaw sa tanan. Greetings of peace to everyone attending this event. It is a great privilege to deliver a message today to our very hardworking and passionate teachers, deputy officials from our regional and schools division offices, and also to our stakeholders in the field of education. In 1950s, there was an analysis approach that emerged from the Sloan School of Management at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, originally for the business industry, the systems thinking approach. Since then, it has been widely used in other fields as well, such as in research and project development. However, in the recent years, from an analysis technique, it developed into a discipline, philosophy, principle, attitude, and mindset. Applying systems thinking approach, to put it simply, is to view, accept that the different systems work with and within the context of one another, that things around us are interrelated and interconnected. Our scholars describe this holistic approach as the sensitivity to the circular nature of the world we live in and the realization that there are consequences to our actions that we are oblivious to. For example, person's A's action towards person B does not only affect person B, it may also affect person C and D, who later on will interact with person B. If you say yes to buying a basket of mangoes at the market, that man who sells mangoes will use the money earned to buy food for his family, send his children to school, and buy more mangoes so he can sell again the following day. UNESCO's approach to global citizen education is an example of that. Education, curricula are no longer just for ensuring that children know how to read and write or pass exams, assessments that would raise our world ranking. Through GCED, it is hoped that we embed in what we teach our learners the values needed to live dignified lives in a peaceful, just, and productive society and eventually produce citizens who will assume active roles to lead us there. This is why I would like to congratulate everyone who took part in making this event happen. To the International Cooperation Office of DepEd and the Korea-Philippines Teacher Exchange Program Alumni Association, on behalf of the Department of Education, I express my deepest gratitude for your effort and commitment so that DepEd's target to improve and provide key means to implement Sustainable Development's Goal number 4 to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all becomes achievable. And of course, to the participants for their time and commitment to improve our services and provide quality education that will respond to the current needs of our society. I would also like to take this opportunity to congratulate the organizations and governments behind the Asia Pacific Teacher Exchange for Global Education on their 10 years of continuous support to the education sectors of its partner countries through their exchange program for teachers. May we always uphold our duty to our learners and our country, keeping in mind that education does not end and only used in classrooms. Education is supposed to prepare our learners to be better citizens so that they and the future generations experience a just, peaceful, and humane society. Daghan salamat og padayon kita sa matinud-anong serbisyo nato sa nasud. Thank you, and let us continue our genuine service for the country.
key stakeholders of education in Kagaya and the Oro city. Director Solasin by third of the alumni of keep Asia Pacific Center of Education to Information and Understanding under the auspices of UNESCO. FCU offers its congratulations to the head ICO and KP10 Alumni Association on the organization of Global Citizenship Education Caravan 6 in Cagayan de Oro City. The strong friendship and partnership between the Philippines and South Korea is crucial in these challenging times of complex crises that require solidarity and cooperation beyond national boundaries. As we experience more and more, climate change is severely affecting our lives, and the pandemic shows not just on our health and safety, but also on our economy. The already existing economic inequality is worsening both nationally and internationally. And rising prices are forcing heavy suffering on a great number of people, especially poor people. Strategic rivalry between China and the USA is intensifying day by day. In these times of complex crisis and increasing uncertainty over citizenship education, GCED is important more than ever. Because GCED is a powerful paradigm of education that aims to empower learners to make informed decisions in a fast-changing and highly uncertain society as responsible and active members of that society. GCED enables learners to understand our interconnectedness and interdependencies and care for each other and the planet. This is the core message of a recent UNESCO report on futures of education. The report emphasizes that education should enable us to shape sustainable futures for all on the basis of social, economic, and environmental justice. Dear participants, we as teachers, educators, school leaders, and education policymakers have great potential for making changes as students in our schools and ultimately in our society. So let's work together to make our education relevant to realities of today, make our education effective for students for an increasingly uncertain world of tomorrow. Today's caravan has a very special meaning. Once again, congratulations on the successful organization of this caravan. I have today's caravan will have to scale up the implementation of GCED and SDG 4 in Cagayan de Oro City. And very best wishes. Good morning.
Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be entertained once again by the multi-talented The Oriental Singers. Let's give them a resounding round of applause.
Be good for them, ladies and gentlemen.
Music is language, art, and science. These attributes make music a great vehicle for learning. Through music, we enjoy and engage in a one-of-a-kind experience. This is what inspired our school's division superintendent, Dr. Jonathan Asdel Kenya, to bring teachers' voices together and unleash the meaningfulness, beauty, and power of giving music uplift the standard of education in Islam Israel. To sing simplicity, wonders of nature is what it's not about. And the essence of coconut tree that the youngest in Islam in humble position and province. Ladies and gentlemen, Oriental singers.
For us in Benet Misamis Oriental, and especially us Orientals, with the example of our school's division superintendent, Dr. Jonathan Estelabenia, our assistant schools division superintendent, Dr. Elvida G. Our SGOD and CIA chiefs, Dr. Maria Teresa M. Asin and Dr. Saida P. Morales, we are always reminded that before we are singers, we are teachers first and foremost. Thus, we sing songs for a cause, for a noble mission, for education. And so we proudly present to you our first educational piece, which will be used in all of the schools of Deaf and Disorder, composed and arranged by our conductor and vocal person, Sir Gani Ashto. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tibok sa Mga Letra. Sa mga letra, sunod ko ito kaya kumanan. Ako ako rin hindi ko napasabi sa'yo. Tutuloy ka na sa mga letra, sunod ko ito kaya kumanan. Ako ipakita hindi pasahod. Ako rin hindi ko napasabi sa'yo. Sa
The Orientals, ladies and gentlemen, of the division of Misamis Oriental. A big hand once again for them. I'm lost for words with them in regards to their presentation, ladies and gentlemen. So, Dr. Steve, can you fill up the adjectives here for their presentation?
Yes, sir, right. Splendid, spectacular, super. Grabe na ubus ng bigit ko, sir, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and to
Thank
see
you.
familiar faces. Some of them are my former colleagues, my
Small
college
world.
classmates. Grabe.
Yeah.
Nakaka-proud ng Region 10. Ano pa ka natin?
Yes.
Definite Region 10
And
yan.
for the information of everybody, the Orientals are composed of select teachers and school heads and school principals of the division of Misamis Oriental. Thank you once again to the Orientals. Ma'am and sir, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll see our first speaker is the president of the Korea Philippines Teacher Exchange, and we'll discuss the Korea Philippines Teacher Exchange Program, or KPTEC, and its impact on GCED and SDGs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Mr. Danilo G. Osorio.
Alaman mo'y grabe ang talent ng region na ito. And our admiration and deep respect for the madrigal singers. Kaliba ko. For the Orientals, maraming salamat po for sharing your fantastic, grabe. Pwede kong, I guess, mas kailangan nila ng mas maraming salamat po ulit. And shall we give our generous applause then kay Ma'am Christine at kay si Ryan na anyway, bringing some peace, solidarity, and good health from the Korean Philippines Exchange Association. I'd like to greet our USEC for Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Jose Yola, Director of Chelsea Ballesteros, Director of the International Cooperation Office, Dr. Arturo Bayupot, our Regional Director, Dr. Victor De Gracia Jr., Assistant Regional Director, as well as the Director Lee Kilmo, UNESCO Director, UNESCO Upstate Director, my fellow speakers for today, Doc Money and Doc Michael, my fellow supervisors who are actually watching right now virtually. Their school heads, meron po bang mga school heads dito? Yes, magandang umaga po sa inyo at syempre po sa lahat ng mga teachers po. GCED advocates na nakikinig po sa atin ngayon in flesh and virtually. Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Isang mapagpalayang araw po sa bawat isa. Magbati po sa lahat ng mga edukador sa umaga nito. Maayong buntag sa inyong kanan. Narinig ko lang po yung kanina at tinabisado. Firstly, our hearts are full. You know, we are much delighted to have this kind of conference. And I believe that this conference, bago matapos ang conference na ito, we all could be the key agents, you know, to bring multiplying effects in various learning environment at sa sphere of influence natin bilang mga educators. Ngayon, nasabi ko kanina ni Marty as per RD, sabi niya, what this APT or APT means. So, in the KPTEC, I'll be talking about the significance and the impact of KPTEC in our school, in our community, and in our world in general, as well as because in the association we are kind of focusing in the same and the association in advocating, if you are familiar enough with global citizenship education, ito po ay isa sa mga 17 goals of the SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals. And of course, we convey our deepest presentation to the Department of Education, International Cooperation Office, and for the region, your region, for working with us hand in hand in the association. Korea-Philippines Teacher Exchange Program Alumni Association, kung inyo pong narinig, taking that, next slide please, ay lagi pong kaagapay ng DepEd International Cooperation Office in our commitment to improve and implement Sustainable Development Goals, particularly that of 4.7 on global citizenship education and education for sustainable development. But to give you some glimpse of what the KPTEC program is about and what the Asia Pacific Teacher is, nasabi na ni Marty kanina, this is actually a bilateral program between the Republic of Korea and Asia Pacific region, hosted by the Ministry of Education Korea and organized by the APSEU Asia Pacific Center of Education for International Understanding under the auspices of UNESCO. So, I'm going to kick off with two countries in 2012. Next slide, please. And Philippines po ay isa sa mga pioneer program na ito. At doon nga po nagsimulang magpadala ng mga teachers at Department of Education. Next slide. APTE or ACTE grew rapidly for the last 9 years, and in 2020, 7 partner countries among the Asia Pacific region: Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Laos, Mongolia, Thailand, and the Philippines. Next. Back in 2015, the world established global targets for sustainable development goals in education 2030, which should be met by each country and through the international cooperation. Ramping up is expected to contribute to meeting these needs in education, including the target 4.7 promotion goals for a deep sense of connection with their people, with their kids, which support their social and behavioral realizations. Pakibalik lang sir, as a previous slide, next one. Let me play this clip. This was when I taught, a folk song in Korea among Korean kids, which they actually enjoyed a lot during my community program. Sir. Correct. Actually, hindi ko may paliwanag sa kanila pa din sa patataya kapag kapag educators of the Philippines joining this program. So, in 2020, dahil nga po hindi na ako napadala ng Filipino teachers and Korean teachers din sa atin, kahit may pandemic, iba natapos or nag-stop ang program nito. And physically, representation of has been canceled, but the program has continued on at doon po nagsimula ang ODEP online teacher exchange program na nagpapatuloy. And of course, ang goal ng program na ito ay hindi nagbabago, it is the same. The online collaboration of two countries, patuloy pa rin ang pagbabahagi natin ng kaalaman at pagbabahagi ng kultura ng KPTEP. And that adding 12 new members of the KPTEP Alumni Association. So, after the program, ang program po ay nag-last ng 3 months. So, after the program, we might ask yung mga teacher, like ano ginagawa ng mga teacher, na ipapatuloy pa ba rin natin ng mga advocacy, kasi the advocacy sustain? Yes. KPTEP sa advocacy sustains dahil in line with, this is in line with the Department of Education's International Cooperation Office mandate, which is to coordinate understanding related to GCED and SDGs. The KPTEP program had a members to be composed of 182 Alumni Association. We actually have this full re-entry application. Gifters of SDG reaffirm our commitment to implement this project in South Korea. As a result of raise our advocacy, after the program. For the record, to present sa kanilang mga schools and to the community where they belong. Significantly, ang mga accomplished activities projects na ito ay galing sa mga batches from batch 2012 hanggang sa batch 2020 presented topics of awareness and critical thinking on issues such as poverty, mga projects that tackles issues with climate change, quality differences. Sabi nga ni Director, hindi mo yung sabi nga, I am that we are presented a reaching indigenous community project, Project ICA, Accessible Education to Outcasts. Her school was chosen to present worldwide during the World Education Week. And it is really great pride para sa atin that our voices are heard by the world. This project based by Dr. Martin Miranda. He is from SDO Nabotas from English. We're creating plans and instructional materials and 1912 curriculum standards that develop students' global citizenship. Lastly, being the sole representative providing rich insights on that we had, which had impacted on minds and attitude of teachers and students that was inherent in vocabulary privilege. And my compatriot in the KPTEP, si Dr. Mamaya, actually share her advocacy, which has empowered the youth, sa eskwelahan niya to become more aware of the different issues of the world, which she had also the privilege to share this sa international audience. We also look forward our teacher sa ating siguro kaya kami makakasali sa program. So, ang memorandum po, actually ngayon, hindi walang physical setting off ng mga Filipino teachers sa Korea and Korea to the Philippines. Pero, yun na, meron po ongoing online teacher exchange program. But, maybe after the pandemic or maybe next year, if you are really interested enough to be part of the program, memorandum will be sent from the that International Cooperation Office. It's sent to sa regional offices ninyo. Hindi natin alam po kailan as of this moment since we are in the pandemic time, but I am confident that you will give your full support kahit naman sa advocacy global citizenship education at sa sustainable development goals. Thank you, Deb. Ask for change. Learning opportunities related, for example, that we had first, the fourth series of the isolated learning series were massive. Kung makikita po ninyo dito, nasa ano po tayo, ICOP Learning Series 4. At magsimula po yan sa session 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just imagine, we had achieved our purpose actually from the Learning Series 1. That was during the initial stage of the pandemic. Online pa lang dati hanggang sa eventually nakakarap na natin ang mga teacher and this kind of conference. Like our teachers, they were fully committed and engaged. Interactions and participations for their participants then were really high and they were full of enthusiasm to support the advocacy of the Asian Economic Association and the SDGs. And now, our sixth session na, pang-anim na session na of the fourth series in that your presence now, indicating that you are proactive enough. Thank you for being with us today. Alam ko na kayo po ay look forward and I can see your passion and that your passion has helped us to unite and the energy that we are creating in this platform allow us to achieve our goals in the SDG and the global citizenship education. We are faced with enormous challenge every day, but I hope that we have overcome, the pandemic. We have overcome this pandemic until now, but we have to persevere and be courageous enough because alam ko na we can do this together. Our strength, we can make our strength a lot greater and overcome today's crisis. And lastly, UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon said we must foster global citizenship education. Education is more than literacy and literacy. Education must fully assume its central role in helping people forge more just, peaceful, and tolerant societies. Meaning, we must not overlook our role, the role of education in helping non-cognitive learning. Non-cognitive learning like the values, like the ethics, social citizenship, as well as sa mga co-teachers natin. Education must be transferred think and the way our teachers, our learners think, our teachers think, and so they can act properly and relevantly to be more just, to be more peaceful, to be more tolerant, and to have this inclusive societies. With this great momentum and promoting global citizenship education, I wish you all sustained fruitful learning collaboration. Maraming salamat. But before I end, I would want to end this sharing and to share with you our activity through this video presentation. Maraming salamat po sa inyo pa yung pagkalitan ng Panginoon.
Okay, so once again, we have our first speaker, the person of Mr. Danilo Venezuela. Sir, thank you very much. And before I proceed, let me just take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of the SDS of El Salvador City, the person of Sir Dionisio and Liwalan Jr. Sir, good morning. Okay, so at this point, uh, we'd like to give our utmost gratitude, of course, to Sir Danilo Osorio. It's a testament of how exchange program can influence and create positive changes in the lives of others. Before we let you serve and present it to our resource speaker, we would like to present to you a certificate of recognition, and let me read this citation. Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, awards the certificate of recognition to Sir Danilo G. Osorio for sharing his invaluable expertise as resource speaker during the ISO AP Tech Learning Series 4 Transform Our World through GCED SDGs development on September 23, 2022 at Grand Caprice Restaurant, Cagayan de Oro City, Misamis Oriental. Given this winter day of September 2022 at Grand Caprice Restaurant, Cagayan de Oro City, signed by the Colonel of Officer for Margarita Consolacion C. Ballesteros. Congress, please, can the
Yes, for the de Gracia, Sir Rai, on behalf of AR de Gracia, call on any representative from the region office. Also, as well as Ms. Jeannie Grace Cardon from the ICO to award the certificate and to enforce
Vida, vida, vida que!
Okay, of course. To serve that, sir.
Yes, again, thank you so much, Sir Dan. Your presentation on KP Tech makes me want to apply on the exchange program to the Kanaman Division of Cagayan de Oro.
Possibility, a big possibility.
Yes, you know what, Sir Ryan, I'm an avid fan on K-pop, K-drama, so okay.
Baka naman.
Baka okay. You and the rest of the, Sir Dan and the rest of the alumni advocacy show how GCED and SDGs can support our learners and the community to develop their skills, values, and competencies. And by the way, Sir Rai, since our snacks have already been served, I guess we can now move on to the next part of our
So
program.
we'll have the working snacks.
Yes, working. Let me introduce you our next speaker. Our speaker served as an associate professor at the Department of Performing Arts in University Science Malaysia until 2013 and currently works as an independent consultant specializing in arts education, GCED, and community-based projects. She specializes in programming of community-engaged arts projects and conducts capacity building training for cultural workers, educators, academics, and artists. She has researched and published widely on community-based arts in the Asian region and has authored related to arts, culture, and heritage education, and she also contributes as an expert resource person to regional institutions such as UNESCO Bangkok and APSEU Korea and Hong Kong University. Friends, let us all welcome Miss Jana Pillai.
Big hand, ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen.
good morning, Miss Pillai.
Morning. Yeah, thank you. I will start by sharing screen and let me know whether you can see my screen, yeah? Hmm. Okay, I don't think I'm able to share screen, so can you share the
So what they asking over our internet. Hopefully we connect with our next speaker.
um, can I ask the organizers to share the PowerPoint that I sent to you? Hello? Mm. Have you received my? Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. I will begin now. Is that all right? Sorry for the long interruption. I will basically be addressing teachers, and these are some interesting ways in which we have conducted GCED with students, both primary and secondary students. And we do it out of the classroom in the community. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I will start by, I mean, some of you may be already familiar with the term local and global citizenship, but I'd like to reinforce that local citizenship, when children feel it, it should be a sense of belonging or a sense of solidarity and responsibility at a very local level, either in their school or in their village or in their small town, to a very specific community. Whereas global citizenship is more of a larger collective sense of belonging and solidarity or responsibility to a larger humanity in our universe or in our world, and also to the ecology of the earth at a very planetary level. It is actually quite difficult for children to think at a global level, but whatever is conducted at the local level automatically contributes to the global level. So I will explain this in a little while. Next slide, please. So if we are working at the local level, we want to look at some challenges at your particular local level, either in your school or in the surroundings nearby your school or in the village. So we are looking at social challenges that might be present in your local environment. Examples of any kind of injustice, such as bullying in the schools, or discrimination against certain tribal groups or race groups, or migrant groups, or conflicts within the classroom or even within the larger community, or inequality between rich and poor, etc. We're also looking for, the teacher should be looking for any environmental challenges in the local community, such as climate change or food insecurity or environmental degradation, or also economic challenges or issues, such as poverty or overdevelopment, income discrimination, overconsumption, or depletion of resources in your community. So what we want to do is actually match the challenge in your community, which are actually global challenges, but some of them may be present in your actual local situation. And you want to match those challenges with the goals, with UNESCO's goals, SDG goals. So any of these challenges might match one of the SDG goals, which is aiming at, say, no poverty, or aiming at reducing inequality, or aiming at better air quality or better life, beneath the water. That means less pollution in the seas nearby to you. So it's very important to see the SDGs as an aim or a goal towards which the student can move through their own small projects, where they are tackling some kind of small problem in the community, but actually this will lead to a general improvement in our planet. Next slide, please. So citizenship education prepares students for a more sustainable future. So it should aim to give the learners some kind of competencies, maybe critical thinking, perhaps working in teams, in collaborative teams, or learning how to negotiate decision making, so that there's not so much conflict. These are competencies. It also aims to the teacher who is carrying out GCED needs to provide platforms for the learner where they can actually assume very active roles to resolve local or a global challenge at a local level. And GCD also should, in the process of doing a project in the community, should increase the sense of belonging or sense of responsibility to the larger community, whether that project is within the school community or the village community or the town community. Next slide, please. So I like this quote from one of the earlier directors of UNESCO's teaching, learning and content section. She says that global citizenship must be viewed as a life experience and not as a forum for intellectual debate. So you can't just teach the principles of GCED or the content of GCED in a classroom situation. You have to leave the classroom. So there must be occasion, or you have to provide a channel for the learners of all ages to feel that they can go into the community and do something and feel like they belong to a common humanity, where they have to take care of someone else, take care of another, whether it's people they know or people they don't know. Next slide, please. So the model that we use is normally to integrate classroom and real world learning. So bringing learning from secondary sources, from the instructor, from textbooks, and bringing also contextual learning and application from an authentic environment, learning from real world conditions. And this platform where the two types of learning come together has to be created by the teacher. Next slide, please. Also, in terms of pedagogy, teachers really have to make an effort to move from very expository approach to a more constructive approach, and also move from classroom to community. So they have to kind of bring the textbook and instructed learning and the problem solving to a different realm in the community, where the child can have more experiential and inquiry-based learning, more problem solving on the ground, and more teamwork and collaboration. So I'll give you some examples of how this is done in the next few slides. Next slide, please. So when planning a GCED lesson, you have to plan it in such a way, or a GCED project, You have to plan it so that there's a correlation between the curriculum topic that you're teaching and a related SDG goal, as well as a local problem in the community or local issue. So here I've given you an example of a local issue in the community. Let's say there are migrant workers working in a factory or in a plantation, and they have not been having their rights, or they might be maids in a household and they are not given proper migrant rights. So you can connect this to a lesson, let's say in social science, a curricular subject in the social science, and maybe the subject is related to either equality or related to diversity, working with people of diversity. And so you have to infuse the GCED goal, the possibility of the children meeting with a local community, a migrant community, and also prep them on the SDG goal. What does respect for diversity mean? And these three things need to go together into a lesson or into a project, a GCD project. Next slide, please. So here are some examples. So for example, if you're having a social science lesson in refugee migration, then your SDG theme or goal would be respect for diversity. And in the lesson, you would have them study migration history of the refugees to that area, to your local area. And they could go out and investigate the living or working conditions of those migrants. And what is the attitude of locals towards those migrants, their behavior, or their, what they think of these migrants, and what the migrants think of the locals, or how they are being treated. And then the students can begin to analyze the situation and make a decision whether they need to advocate in a particular area. Do they need to advocate for cultural rights or social justice or inclusion? And they come up with a project, which could be a campaign, or it could be posters, or it could be a forum where say the employer and the employees, or the students have a forum among themselves, role playing what it's like to be a migrant after they have done interviews with the migrants, and what is it like to be an employer of these migrants, or or to live with these migrants. It could also be a geography lesson or an economics lesson, but you would have to plan the lesson as in the third column, after identifying the SDG goal in the middle column. So if you're aiming in the geography lesson for cleaner water and sanitation among the community, then the students may investigate the river near them and the use and abuse of this river, document it, and then advocate for environmental protection or for health and wellness of the river, and so on and so forth. So let me give you some examples. Next slide, please. It's very important to apply this learning cycle when you are planning a project. So the students will learn about the issue and the community where they're going to do the project, and the site itself, whether it's an environmental problem or a refugee problem. That means they're going to work with the community, whether it's a pollution problem. So the teacher will actually introduce the concept and the context, and the children will visit the site and get to know the community. And then they will be left on their own, because this is constructive learning. They will be left on their own to interact and to investigate the site and to interview the community, or to observe the river, what's the problem there, talk to the people, etc. And document, very important. After documenting, the children come back to the classroom and they have critical reflection to analyze their findings and to assess the situation, and then to ideate solutions on how they can contribute. So this part is very important according to UNESCO and also to the learning cycle, GCED. How do you practice citizenship? It's through action. So the students have to share their findings and initiate some kind of small action where they can contribute to change or transformation in that community. And it can be a very small action. They can put something on the internet, or they can create a campaign in the community, or they can educate their fellow classmates, to change their mindset towards refugees or towards how their family treats the river. All right. So these 4 stages are very important to incorporate into a GCED project or a GCED lesson. Next slide, please. And it's very important during the whole lesson or during the whole project that the children get not only cognitive stimulation, that means they may look at videos about refugees or about river pollution. They might get some lessons exposure from the teacher. They might read some reading references, so that's cognitive exposure. And they also need socio-emotional exposure and development. And this can only come if they are face to face with the real authentic environment or the real authentic community, and they are actually interviewing or observing the real situation on the ground, and interacting with the people who are actually creating the problem, who are making the issue happen. And number 3 is there is a behavioral change in the children by taking action, doing a campaign, or building an awareness kind of poster, or putting something on a blog, or creating a forum. They are actually acting responsibility. And GCED is not GCED if you don't have these 3 components. Because if you just go on a typical field visit, it is very simple. You go on the field visit, you come back, you prepare a report for your teacher. That's not GCED. GCED has to have the action component, the transformation of the child, emotionally and behaviorally and mentally. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So here's an example of a project where students have been going to a wet market for the last 5 years in my country. And every batch of students is working on different projects, but in the same market. So it's easy for the teacher. The teacher becomes familiar with the market. And some of the groups work on food production, on health and safety of the vendors or the customers, or on understanding food miles in the market, the food economy, etc. And they use tools such as research, observation, interviews, apprenticeship, mapping, etc., and other things. So, and they use the GCED triangle to plan each project. The teacher uses it, and then they work with an NGO in this town who works in the market as well, and plan their projects with the NGO. Next slide, please. This next slide is actually a slide of working with children who live in the city, and they all live in the same area, and the city has become very crowded and very unsafe for them, so they have no more playing space. So the children actually did a mapping, photograph, as well as walking around, as well as interviewing other children on which are the safe and unsafe places in their part of the city. And then they kind of came up with a kind of a document, and they presented this document to the local municipality and made some demands about how they need better lighting, the drain covers have to be covered, they need some playing spaces, some things are broken in the park that need repair. And they had a dialogue with the city council. So that's the action component. The next slide, please. This is a secondary school project where involved a geography teacher, and it was focused on climate change because there was a huge landslide on a hill nearby to the school. So the teacher quickly devised a project together with the hill community to talk about the landslide to their students and how the landslide happened. And then the teacher analyzed the landslide with the students from a geography point of view, very technical lesson. And the children then went on site and investigated and documented the landslide and talked to the local community. And then they made some geography models as well as some scientific models showing how landslides occur. And they invited the whole school and they talked the school through the whole project of erosion and overdevelopment and how landslides occur. And a lot of students came because it was a very interactive exhibition. Next slide, please. And this is the last case study of a group of students who live in a high-rise apartment, very, very poor apartment, and they complained that there was a lot of trash being thrown from the upper stories. So the group went in. Some of them are teachers, and they employed a videographer and a sculptor and a dance person to help them to do this project. So the video group actually worked with a group of students, some of the students, to make a video on raising awareness to the community, to the adult community, in about what they are doing that is creating trash in the stairways, in the courtyard, etc. And then the sculpture group made some very big recycling bins for the community. And the dance group actually did a dance and a short musical and a dance that they performed in the square to the community. So they invited all the community down about how you should recycle your plastics and how you should change your behavior in the community. Finally, all the students together created a recycling initiative, and they started to collect trash from all the floors, and they made a lot of money and started a trust fund based on this trash collection. So this project was a 3-year project in this community with young students. And they were so good that the municipal council actually invited them to speak at a national municipal seminar on how to work with community. So these are examples of how you can do GCD in the community. It takes a little bit of effort and time on the part of the teacher, and a lot of partnerships, if possible, with NGOs in that community that you're going to work with. But the children just love these projects. They think it's really fun, and it makes citizenship very cool and very happening, and it really changes their future thinking when they go out to work, or when they go to university and think of projects on their own. Next slide, please. So just to put you in a context, GCED projects are really using the 21st century skills, and they really transform the student, starting with a topic, taking it to the real community, applying some of the concepts and the teachings that the teacher has taught in a real problem-solving situation where the student is able to express their citizenship. And these projects can take place just in the school compound or just outside the school, or you can work in a slum or a high-rise community. It doesn't matter. It's just that you have to give time for planning and time for execution, and it can be done through a club, or an association, or even after school or on weekends. Thank you very much. You can go on to the last slide. And thank you very much for your time. I hope the examples have inspired you to look beyond the classroom for your GCED projects. Thank you.
It's not
So my topic for today is transformative learning in developing and engaged global citizens. In 2021, sorry, next slide po. In 2021, UNESCO defined transformative education as a form of instruction that involves teaching and learning geared to motivate and empower happy and our learners with the knowledge and responsible citizens of global community. The form society and be better. It's not even yeah. Mabuhay gapili sa pagtutudo sa classroom. Definitely yes. Ito na po ang kinakaya. In fact, Dr. Janet Pilay earlier provided us of inside the classroom. Ayan yung mga picture po sa unahan. In 2019, I became an exchange teacher in Korea. And that journey changed my views in what I did in Korea. Allow me to share this short video clip. Sir, makibalik na po tayo ng konti. Kahit kung nandito. Ay, video.
mutual understanding and global safety. In teaching literature, I shared our values, our traditions, our heritage, with the goal of my learners experience a new culture. But I made sure that they would also learn the value of unity, equality, peaceful coexistence, as well as transformation in our world. Aware that we are prepared for we live in. These examples journalists and age